Okay, I'm really embarrassed. Before I even start, all the people that were nominated for that leadership award and this valedictorian thing, I think we owe them a round of applause. Any of them could be standing up here and celebrating. So I'm hopeful that they came around and gave lots of wine to you guys, so that hopefully you don't remember too much of this in case it bombs, but I'm going to give it my best. First thing I want to do is, this is going to sound really weird, but I brought one of these with me. Does anybody recognize that? That's the clicker, okay? I have no PowerPoint. I'm just going to hold this because it makes me feel better. Okay? And it kind of leads into the beginning of my speech, actually, because you know how sometimes things just feel right? Well, Queens, after a lot of adversity, has started to really just feel right for me. And I think we can all agree with that. Basically, I get up every morning and I come to goods just like you guys. I see each other of you, your smiling faces. I talk to you guys about how unfair that latest assignment is, or how unfair that latest exam is. We get ready for our class in our team rooms. I walk by the admin office and I wave to Nancy and Kim and Juanita. Find my favorite spot in classroom 410, and it all just kind of feels right. So let's think back to when it all started. It was exactly 341 days from today. I actually counted them all up. We're all really eager to get started on a new adventure. The enthusiasm is contagious. I think we'd all tell it's going to be a very exciting year. I guarantee that I had absolutely no idea what was to come, and I still can't believe that I did that bombardment exercise. Wow. Then we really quickly got into modules 2 and 3, and I think that was probably the point where many of us started asking ourselves, like, uh-oh, what did I get myself into? It was a lot of work, heavy workload, very challenging, and there was a really weird group of people in this program that for some reason was loving all this quantitative stuff. And you know who finance people are. So, anyway, the good news, it was very stressful, but we had this amazing group of people known as our Fit to Lead team. And what they did was they came up with a great mix of intramurals, outdoor activities, morning boot camps, and fit breaks. And it completely melted away all of my stress. Maybe not quite, but it sure helped a whole lot. So, you know what I realized though after modules 2 and 3? If I could survive writing a BDM exam, well, jackhammering was going on and they were towing away tons of limestone, I could pretty much survive anything. And by the way, Scott and admin office, these things, they really don't help when the whole room is shaking. So if we can survive that, we can survive anything. Modules 4 and 5 brought a much-needed slowdown. Thank goodness that all the commerce kids came back and sucked up room 406 for half the day, so we had a little bit of a reprieve. And by the way, how cool was it when they put that graphic on the side of that commerce van during Frost Week and said that we were the coolest by far. So the arrival of that winter holiday break was a welcome thing to happen for us. We kind of went from the capstone simulation, where it was like at warp speed, to being completely stopped the next day. It's kind of like decelerating by hitting a brick wall. But the winter break was amazing. We returned to school back after the winter break, and we had lost a few people. It was kind of a different feel in goods, but we had gained a whole bunch of new friends from around the world. The only problem is somebody should have told them what January in Canada is like, because they all looked a little shell-shocked. Now we're coming back to that time of the year where it all started. There's going to be a new class coming in very shortly to begin their Queen's MBA experience. So what I wanted to do is kind of look at our accomplishments, and frankly, our accomplishments are absolutely outstanding. To give you an idea, I decided what I wanted to do was basically do what an MBA does, and that's look at some key performance indicators. So I started adding things up. We did 805 hours of class, and an extremely large percentage of those were on statutory holidays and weekends, which I don't know if that's legal. So I don't know how you guys got away with that. We had 27 courses, 112 projects, assignments, and exams, which is absolutely astounding when you think of how big those projects and assignments were. Not to mention, we had 3 first-place competition winners, 2 second-place competition winners, 2 fourth-place competition winners, with a grand total of $164,000 in prize money. Scott mentioned our victory for 150, and I want to remind everybody, that was a loan, not free money. Everybody's looking at me like, you know, we're rolling in dough all of a sudden. We've got to pay that back. But anyways, I want to also point out that we won the NBA hockey team tournament, so good. Program, 4 babies came into the world, so way to go, guys. There have been a ton of weddings and engagements, more than I could even find out all of them, so congratulations everyone on that. And just tonight, I came to find out about, you know what, I promised I wouldn't shout out anybody's name, and I'm going to stay true to that. But I think you might be able to guess this one. The Queen's MBA program now holds 3 new Queen's track and field records. Like I said, I'm not going to tell you who it was. So, pretty impressive year. I think you gotta say that was amazing. But how do we pull it all off? Well, you know, as MBAs, we've been taught to look kind of beyond the numbers and actually find out what's driving those kind of results. And this takes me to the most important KPIs of all. I'm going to say the number, and I'm going to see if you guys can guess it. It's 10,806. No, that's how much we spend in the E-bar on caffeine, sugar, and other energy drinks to keep this stuff going. So thanks, Jeff, for those numbers. By the way, I'm sure that everybody always remembered to check off what they were taking for the E-bar, right? I think Ken Wong would say you're all a bunch of margin-sucking maggots. There are a few other important KPIs that we can't forget about. The first one is 42, and that's the number of faculty members that made this such an outstanding experience. Quick round of applause for that. There's the number 8, which is the people in the BCC, Brian and his amazing team, that have that unenviable task of trying to sell us to these companies out there. So really quick, a round of applause for the BCC. Now, the next number is 3, and that's Ryan, Shane, and the newly redesigned Bethany, and the Fit to Lead team. And one that I completely forgot about, was probably the most important of all. You can hear them running around in the background, is the families involved in this program. The reason a lot of people are in this program, and the reason a lot of people stayed in this program. So a really quick round of applause for families. Okay, the last number, the number 8. And you can probably guess this one. It represents Nancy, Juanita, Kim, Ruth, Carrie, Teresa, Lori, and Scott, our amazing MBA administrative staff. Okay, so now we're transitioning to the next phase of our lives. And what we learned here at Queen's will be our greatest asset. It's not just about balance sheets, discounted cash flows, regression, and linear programming, but we've learned a great deal outside the class that will serve us tremendously in the future. So So this is things like how to be a leader and how to be led, okay? How to work in a team, how to compromise, how to prioritize team outcomes ahead of individual outcomes, and how to look out for others. I recall during last summer, I was walking towards Goods. It was a rainy, awful day. I was feeling terrible, okay? I didn't have an umbrella. It was one of those days where I was going to have to do a presentation, so I was wearing my suit and just completely getting soaked. I was going to cross Berry Street onto Union so I could walk the final length up to Goods, and this obnoxious silver SUV stopped right in front of me, okay? And I'm like, what is this guy doing? I want to cross the street. It's raining out. The window rolled down, and there was somebody in there kind of waving to me. And I didn't want to name any names, but it was Peter Richardson. And he said, Chris, you look a little wet, you want to ride? And I was giving him this ugly look, and I had to kind of, shake that off and jump in the car. And I had this really awkward drive for about 1 minute up to Goods. It was a really good lesson for me because it showed me how those little things are huge leadership things and huge things that we learn in our time here. How to leverage that, how to make people follow you and motivate you. Because I was fired up. I couldn't wait to go. Here's the prof that I admired so much that it stopped and given me a ride. It meant a lot to me. I don't know why, but it really did. So it kept me going for months. So these are truly the skills that make us not only successful in business, but in life. So keep those types of things in mind. All right, so I'm wrapping up. Before I continue, I just want to thank you all for bestowing this huge honor upon me to be able to address you today. I say this, from a personal perspective, this has been the absolute best year of my life. And speaking to you tonight is actually the best moment of my life. And you've really made this happen for me. I thank you very much. But before I end, I want to leave you with 3 things. So first, remember the contributions made to our class by all the alumni who came back and gave to us by their wisdom, their connections. That's really important. It made our experience for us. So now it's our turn. When we get called from the Business Career Center or from the administrative office here, it's our job to give back to this program like everybody else did for us. So make that a priority. Second, we've got to stay in touch. We've developed an incredible network here. Our bond is going to remain strong for years. So don't be strangers, stay in touch. The technology today makes it really easy. So promise to reach out to your classmates. And finally, while researching this speech, I found a lot of people always talking about the graduation class in the terms of being leaders of tomorrow. And I said, forget that. You know what? Let's turn it on its head. Let's be leaders starting today. Okay? After all, we've been doing it for the last 12 months. Okay? We don't need to be the CEO to be a leader either.